Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. Today, I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, and NHL games, look ahead to today's games in each sport. I'll go over the latest results in the Australian Open, and we will pick the matches for tonight and tomorrow on the show. My mock bracket for this week for NCAA tournament. News and notes is a new segment I'm going to do on the podcast where a couple news hits come up and we'll just talk about each item of news and my best bet of the day. First, I'm going to do college basketball. We'll recap what was a very short window of games from yesterday, and we will look ahead to the games for today. Stephen F. Austin over New Orleans, 89-79. Idaho State over George Fox, 84-59. Eastern Kentucky over Tennessee Tech, 83-72. Murray State over SIU, Edwardsville, 86-57. Longwood over Hampton, 83-73. Presbyterian over South Carolina, Upstate, 75-65. Number 16, Florida State over number 7, Virginia, 81-60. Chattanooga over East Tennessee State, 53-51. And Washington over Washington State, 65-63. All right, today's window, 2 o'clock, you have Northern Illinois against Akron. My line is Akron 13.5. I did not do totals today because I didn't have time to do that. And FanDuel has this line at Akron 16.5. So I have to take Northern Illinois getting the points. 4 o'clock, Texas Southern, Jackson State. My line is Southern by a half, and it's Jackson State by 1.5. I'm taking Texas Southern plus the 1.5 and minus 110. Money line is not out yet. Iowa State, Oklahoma State. My line is Oklahoma State by 15. It's 11, so I'm going to lay the 11 with Oklahoma State. 6:30 Fox Sports 1, Providence, UConn. My line's UConn 4.5, and it's 5.5. Totals 133. I think that's kind of low, so I'm going to take the over. 7 o'clock, SEC Network, number 20, Missouri at Georgia. My line is Missouri 4.5. I swear if Georgia's favored, I am going to rattle. Missouri 3.5. Okay, good. The right team's favored. I can't lay it with Missouri because I'm less than 2 points. 153.5 is the high total. I'm taking the under. Florida at number 24, Arkansas on ESPN2. My line's Arkansas by a half. And it's Arkansas by 5. I'm taking Florida plus the 5 at minus 115. No, they won't win. I just think that number is high. Wagner at Mount St. Mary's. My line's Mount St. Mary's by 2.5. And it's 4.5. So I'm going to take Wagner plus the 4.5 at minus 115. Nebraska at Maryland on the Big Ten Network tonight. My line is Maryland 5.5, and it's 10. I'm taking Nebraska in the points. I know this could be a letdown spot. Nebraska coming off its first Big Ten win of the year. I get it, but that number is way too high. Austin Peay, Southeast Missouri State. I have Austin Peay by 11, and it's, let's see here, 6.5. I'm laying the 6.5 with Austin Peay. St. Francis Brooklyn at Fairleigh Dickinson. My line is 5.5, and I don't see any lines yet. Obviously 5.5 in a favor of Fairleigh Dickinson. Temple Tulsa on ESPNU. My line is Tulsa 5.5. And it's 3. I'm going to lay to 3 with Tulsa against Temple. CBS Sports Network, Dayton, Rhode Island. My line is Dayton 6. And it's Rhode Island 3.5. I'm taking Dayton plus 3.5 and plus 145 on the money line. That's ridiculous, that line. I think Dayton is being very disrespected in the market right now, and Rhode Island is being very overvalued. Bowling Green, Ball State. My line is Bowling Green by 2, and that's what it is. Total's 150. I'm taking the over. I don't feel great about it. Miami, Ohio at Toledo. My line is Toledo 11, and it's 11.5. Total's 150. I'm going to take the under at minus 105 and be a little contrarian here. Kent State, Western Michigan. Kent 11.5 is my line. It's 9.5. I'm going to lay 9.5 with Kent State. 8:30 Fox Sports 1, Xavier St. John's. My line is Xavier 2. And it's St. John's 1.5. I know this is your classic wrong. You think the wrong team's favorite, but really they're right game. So I am going to take Xavier plus the points and plus 105 straight up. 9 o'clock Big Ten Network, Northwestern against number 5 Illinois. My line is Illinois 16.5. And it's 12.5. I'm laying the 12.5 with Illinois. Loyola Marymount against Santa Clara. My line is Santa Clara 3.5, and it's Marymount by 4. Wrong team's favor. Take it Santa Clara plus the 4 minus 115 and plus 150 on the money line. And last but not least, CBS Sports Network tonight. LaSalle, St. Louis. My line, St. Louis 9.5, and it's 16.5. That's too high. I'm taking LaSalle plus a 16.5 at minus 115. All right, now we'll do NBA. We'll go over a nice slate from last night, and we will look ahead to a not so busy slate because there was a game that unfortunately was postponed, the Pistons and the Spurs. So last night's results. Bulls over the Pacers 120-112 in overtime. The Bulls 11-15, Pacers 14-14. Zach LaVine continuing his all-star case with 30 points. Domantas Sabonis 25 points and with 5 assists and 10 rebounds, or it might have been 12 rebounds. Wizards over the Rockets 131-119, and John Wall's return. Washington's 8-17, Houston's 11-16. Bradley Beal had 37 points to lead Washington, and Russell Westbrook was good as well against his former team. And John Wall, 29 points and 11 assists against his former team. Knicks over the Hawks, 123-112. That's 3 wins in a row for the Knicks, who are now 14-15. Atlanta is 11-16. Julius Randle continuing his all-star case, 44 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. Trae Young, 23 points and 8 assists. Jazz over the 76ers, 134-123. Jazz 23-5, Philly 18-10. Jordan Clarkson, 40 points. Ben Simmons, a career-high 42 points and 12 assists. Warriors over the Cavs, 129-98. Golden State 15-13. Cleveland's 10-19. Stephen Curry, 36 points. And for Cleveland, Colin Sexton, 23 with 5 assists. Clippers over the Heat, 125-118. No Kawhi, no Paul George, no problem. Clippers 21-8. Miami 11-16. Marcus Smart had a good game, 32 points. And Jimmy Butler had 30 points and 10 assists for Miami. Nets over the Kings, 136-125. Brooklyn 17-12. Sacramento 12-15. No Kevin Durant, no problem. Kyrie Irving, 40 points for Brooklyn, and James Harden had a triple-double as well. Hassan Whiteside, 26 points, 16 boards for Sacramento. All right, tonight's window we talked about Spurs Pistons being postponed. At 7 o'clock, we have the Nuggets and the Celtics. My line is Denver 4.5, total 223. But it looks like that the Celtics are favored, which is ridiculous. They're favored by 2.5. We don't have a total out yet. I'm taking Denver plus the 2.5 and plus 116 straight up. Boston's just been ravaged by injuries. They've been a big underachiever this year, so give me Denver. Because I get the narrative. Boston's desperate. Boston's desperate. But no, they're just bad right now. They need to make a trade, and they need Marcus Smart back. 8 o'clock on TNT, you have the Pelicans and the Grizzlies. It looks like this game's being moved to 7:30. Memphis won total 225. Meanwhile, it's New Orleans won total 230.5. I have to take the under. I think that Memphis, on both ends, isn't really as good or as bad as people are perceiving them to be. And New Orleans is only favored because of the name Zion Williamson. So give me under 230.5. And I do like Memphis too, but I like the under better. 8 o'clock, Raptors, Bucks. Milwaukee 6, total 229.5. Meanwhile, it's 5.5, total 235. I have to take again another under, minus 114. These two teams are better defensively than this number suggests. Lakers, Timberwolves, I'm at 17, 221.5. Meanwhile, it's 8. I have to lay it, even without Anthony Davis. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. And even without LeBron, who's worth 6 points, would make it Lakers 11. I have to lay it with the Lakers, but LeBron's going to play, as we know. He's going for the MVP. Trailblazers, Thunder, I'm at Portland 7 and 226. Meanwhile, it's Portland 7. We don't have a total yet. I'm going to bet the over if it's anything lower than 224.5, and I'm going to bet the under if it's anything higher than 227.5. And last but not least, 10:30 or 10 o'clock on TNT, Nets, Suns. I'm at Suns by 3, total 228. No, Suns 3, we don't have a total yet. If it's anything higher than 229.5, I'm betting the under. If it's anything lower than 226.5, I'm betting the over, and I'm probably going to end up betting the under for this game because they always overinflate Brooklyn totals literally every night. All right, now we'll move on to the NHL. We'll look back on what was a very busy night in hockey, and we will look ahead to another interesting night in hockey as a team that's been on a pause for a long time will make its triumphant return. Coyotes over the Blues, 1-0. So best bet goes incorrectly. Arizona 7-6-2. St. Louis 9-5-2. Number 3 star of the game just played a good game. Connor Garland. Number 2 star of the game with the only goal of the game. Clayton Keller. The number 1 star of the game with 24 saves on 24 shots. Darcy Kemper. Islanders over the Sabres 3-1 as the Sabres return from their COVID pause. Islanders 7-4-3. Buffalo 4-5-2. The number 3 star of the game with 20 saves on 21 shots. Semyon Varlamov. Number 2 star of the game with a goal. Anders Lee. And the number 1 star of the game with 2 goals, Josh Bailey. 2 assists. Senators over the Maple Leafs, 6-5 in overtime on a game-winning goal by Evgeny Dadonov. Ottawa 4-12-1, Toronto 11-3-2. Toronto had a 5-1 lead at the end of the second period, and Ottawa scores with 9 seconds left, shorthanded, to make it 5-2. Everyone's like, oh, garbage time goal. No, Ottawa comes back and scores 3 goals in the third, forces overtime, and then Dadonov scores the game winner in OT. What a win for DJ Smith and the Senators. The number 3 star of the game with a goal and assist, Connor Brown, against his former team. Number 2 star of the game with 2 goals and assists, Austin Matthews. And the number 1 star of the game with a game-tying and game-winning goals, Evgeny Dadonov. And this is just a bad loss for the Maple Leafs. This is just classic Maple Leafs. Let down, bad loss. We have not seen this in a long time, but here we are. They're not going to be my number 1 team on the power rankings because of this game. Ottawa's terrible. Toronto has no business being number 1. Got to remind myself when I do these power rankings on Friday that Toronto cannot be number 1. Not after this. Sorry. Hurricanes over the Blue Jackets 7-3. The Hurricanes 10-3-0. Columbus 7-6-4. The number 2 star of the game with a goal and 3 assists, Teuvo Teravainen. Number 3 star of the game with 2 assists, Jake Bean. And the number 1 star of the game with 2 goals and 2 assists, Brock McGinn. Panthers over the Lightning 6-4. The Panthers 9-2-2. Tampa Bay 10-3-1. The number 3 star of the game with 2 goals, Alexander Volkov. The number 2 star of the game with an assist, defenseman Mackenzie Weegar, and the number one star of the game with a goal and assist, Alexander Barkov. Blackhawks over the Red Wings 3-2 in overtime on a game-winning goal by Dominik Kubelak. Blackhawks 8-5-4, Detroit 4-10-3. The number 3 started the game with 21 saves on 24 shots, Thomas Greiss. The number 2 started the game with the goal, Matthias Janmark, and the number 1 star of the game with 2 goals, including the overtime winner, Dominik Kubelak. Jets over the Oilers 6-5, easy over again. Winnipeg 9-5-1, Edmonton 9-8. The number 3 started the game with 2 goals, Alex Chiasson. The number 2 started the game with 2 goals, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and the number 1 started the game with a goal and 2 assists, Mark Sheffley. Flames over the Canucks 4-3 in overtime on a game-winning goal by Johnny Gaudreau. Did I call this on yesterday's podcast that Calgary was going to win 4-3? But I think I said a shootout. Calgary 8-6-1, Vancouver 7-11-1. First overtime loss of the year for Vancouver. The number 3 started the game with the overtime winner, Johnny Gaudreau. The number 2 started the game with a goal and assist, Brock Besser. And the number 1 started the game with 2 assists for Calgary, Rasmus Anderson. Sharks over the Ducks 3-2. Sharks 6-7-1, Anaheim 6-7-3. The number 3 started the game with the goal, John Leonard. The number 2 started the game with the goal, Kevin LeBlanc. And the number 1 started the game with the goal and assist, Logan Couture. Devils Bruins postponed, obviously. Predators Stars postponed because of weather, because of the snow going on in Dallas. Tonight's window, we have 6 games. At 7 o'clock, you have the Devils and the Rangers. The Devils coming back from their COVID pause. Finally, Rangers are minus 142 favorites. Devils plus 120. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 125. Unders plus 105. Rangers puck line minus 1.5 is plus 194. Devils plus 1.5 is minus 240. I'm going to take the under here. I think the Devils are going to be very rusty, and Igor Shesterkin, assuming that's who is going to start in net for the Rangers, is going to come out and play a great game. So give me under 5.5 at plus 105. And I like Rangers puck line too. I think that's ballsy. So I'd rather go the under. Maybe it's 3-2. Maybe it's 2-1. But I'm banking on the under. I like under 5.5 at plus 105. Islanders Sabres again. Islanders minus 134. Buffalo plus 114. Over is even money. Unders minus 120 at 5.5. Islanders puck line minus 1.5 is plus 215. Plus 1.5 for Buffalo is minus 260. Second of a back-to-back, and it looks like it's going to be Ilyas Sorokin. I'm going to take a shot on the upset and take the Sabres at plus 114 to pull off the upset against the Islanders. NBC has sent tonight Capitals Penguins, good game. Penguins minus 130, Capitals plus 110, over under 6.5, overs minus 130, unders plus 110. Capitals plus 1.5 is minus 245. Penguins minus 1.5 is 2-1. The Penguins are starting to play a little better. Washington is absolutely falling apart after its hot start. But the safe play here is the over. Safe play is always the over between these two teams. This was 6-3 the other day on national TV. And I think that one of these teams can get the 5 or 6 tonight. Probably Pittsburgh, because Washington's goaltending situation has not been kind. And Vince Fantech has kind of cooled off after a hot start. And Ilya Samsonov was down in the minors coming off the COVID thing. So give me over 6.5 at minus 130. 8:30 Predators Stars. So this is, I guess, a makeup from yesterday. Dallas minus 166. Nashville plus 140. Over under 5.5. Overs plus 1.5. Unders minus 125. Preds plus 1.5 is minus 210. Dallas minus 1.5 is plus 176. I'm going to take the over at plus 105. I don't like what I've seen from Nashville's goalies lately, and Dallas has been scoring the puck well. So give me over 5.5 at plus 105. 10 o'clock, Avs Golden Knights. Golden Knights minus 112. Avs minus 104. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 125. Unders plus 105. Colorado plus 1.5 is minus 310. Vegas minus 1.5 is plus 250. I'm going to go with the underdog Avalanche. I think that in the rematch, I think they'll come out and play better. This is their second game post the COVID pause. I think that Their offense will get going, and I think that they'll knock off the Golden Knights in what will be an impressive win. Because this West Division is a bear. Between those two and the Blues, it's a bear. And then 10 o'clock, Wild Kings. Wild minus 138, Kings plus 118, over under 5.5. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 250, Wild minus 1.5 is plus 205. I'm going to go with... this is tough. I'm kind of feeling under, but I don't feel good about it. The case is that neither of these teams are good offensively, so give me under 5.5. So maybe Jonathan Quick turns back the clock. Maybe Cam Talbot turns back the clock, and this is a 3-2 game. This is 3-2 written all over. I don't know who wins, but give me under 5.5 between the Wild and the Kings. Now we're going to do Australian Open. We will start on the men's side and work our way over. So, men's quarterfinal. You had Aslan Karastev defeat number 18 Grigor Dimitrov in 4 sets in the upset. And we had a walkovers. Number 5, Stefano Tsitsipas over Matteo Berrettini. So Tsitsipas advances. And in one quarterfinal complete, number 1 Novak Djokovic over number 6 Alexander Zverev in 4 sets. And in one quarterfinal tonight, number 7 Alexander Rublev and number 4 Daniil Medvedev. I think this is going to be a great match. I'm going to go with Medvedev in 4 sets. Won't rule out 5. And at 3:30 a.m., you have the quarterfinal between number 5 Stefano Tsitsipas and number 2 Rafael Nadal. Should be fun. I'm going to go with Nadal in 4 sets. Then the semifinals begin tomorrow. We will pick Novak Djokovic against Aslan Karastev on tomorrow's show. And obviously, we project here Medvedev against Nadal in the other match, which will be likely on Thursday. All right, women's. From yesterday, number 3 Naomi Osaka over Hsieh Sui in 2 sets in the quarterfinal. And in the 4th round, we talked about yesterday, number 1 Ashley Barty over Shelby Rogers in 2, and number 25 Carolina Muchova over number 18 Elise Mertens in 2 sets. All right. And then this morning, quarterfinal, number 10 Serena Williams over number 2 Simona Halep in 2 sets. So looks like that we can see Serena go on a mini run here. And in 2 quarterfinals tonight, at 7 o'clock, you have number 1 Ashley Barty, number 25 Carolina Muchova. I'm going to go with Barty in 3. And then number 22, Jennifer Brady against Jessica Pegula. This is going to be a great match. I'm looking forward to this. This is at 9 o'clock. Jessica Pegula has been the breakout star of the tournament. Jennifer Brady's been great too. And I'm going to say that there's too much hype on the Pegula train right now, and I think that Brady will overcome it and win this in 3 sets. And then you have Naomi Osaka and Serena Williams tomorrow. We'll pick that on tomorrow's podcast. And then you have the Barty Muchova winner against the Brady Pegula winner. And I obviously am projecting Ashley Barty against Jennifer Brady for the other semifinal in the women's, which would be fabulous. Now I'm going to do my mock bracket for this week. I did not do one last week because there was a lot of other things that we had to get done, and it was the post-Super Bowl mortem, so we were covering that. So, my third bracket projection. My number 1 overall seed, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. My number 2 overall seed in the second region, the Baylor Bears. My number 3 overall seed in the third region, the Michigan Wolverines. And the number 4 overall seed in the fourth region, the Ohio State Buckeyes. So the same top 4 as the the release that came out the other day. All right, my 2 seeds. In the first region, Illinois. In the second region, Villanova. The third region, Oklahoma. The fourth region, Alabama. So, obviously how I do this now is because the regions are numbered for this year. So, in the order that I do this particular season is the order, or is what region they'll be. All right, my 3 seeds. Virginia, Houston, Florida State, West Virginia. So Virginia in the 1 region, Houston in the 2, Florida State in the 3, West Virginia in the 4. My 4 seeds. Tennessee, Missouri, Texas Tech, and Iowa. 5 seeds. USC, Virginia Tech, Louisville, Texas. 6 seeds. UCLA, Oregon, Xavier, Creighton. 7 seeds. LSU, Kansas, Wisconsin, Clemson. 8 seeds, San Diego State, Purdue, BYU, Florida. 9 seeds, St. Bonaventure, Boise State, Arizona, Utah State. 10 seeds, Colorado, Minnesota, North Carolina, Rutgers. 11 seeds, Arkansas, UConn, VCU, Loyola, Chicago. 12 seeds, playing game, Drake, Syracuse in the 1 region, and Wichita State, Colorado State in the 2 region. And then the other 2 12 seeds, Belmont and Winthrop. 13 seeds, Toledo, Western Kentucky, Liberty, UNC Greensboro. 14 seeds, Texas State, UMBC, Grand Canyon, James Madison. 15 seeds, Eastern Washington, Colgate, South Dakota State, UC Santa Barbara. 16 seeds, Wright State, Abilene Christian, play-in match, Siena Prairie View, and play-in match, NC and Merrimack. Alrighty. Now I'm going to do my new segment called News and Notes, where I touch on the latest news and notes in the world of sports and pop culture. So it's just simple as that. So the first thing I want to touch on is that the what was the big one? Justin Wilson. This isn't the big one, but there was a big one, but. Interesting. Justin Wilson signs with the Yankees. He was with the Mets the last couple of years. 2.92 ERA. Reliable lefty out of the bullpen. The Yankees had to replace 2 arms in their bullpen, and Tommy Kahnle and Adam Ottavino. One of them left in free agency. The other one was trade. That they want to clear some salary. So Justin Wilson goes to the Bronx. So they replace Ottavino and Kahnle with Justin Wilson and Darren O'Day, 2 good lefties. So there you go. Wendell Carter Jr. returning for the Bulls tonight. He was out for the last 11 games with the quad injury, so this kind of helps make up the loss of Lauri Markkanen. Carter could come in. He's a good defensive player, but I just think he has to get better offensively a little bit. I think he has potential to be a double-double guy down the road. Anthony Davis out 2 to 3 weeks with the Lakers. I think that this can cost them the 1 seed with the way Utah's playing. Because if LeBron ties to 6 games, they have no shot. Except against, like, a bad team like the Pistons. But they almost lost to the Pistons with both players. So, yeah, this is a big loss for the Lakers. I think this could cost them the 1 seed, but we shall see. Bad news, or I should say sad news from yesterday. Vincent Jackson, the former Buccaneers and Chargers wide receiver, passed away at the age of 38. He was found dead in a hotel in Tampa, and police are investigating. He had a really good career. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler. He was one of Phil Rivers' reliable wideouts with the Chargers. And he last played in the NFL in 2016 with the Bucs. He wasn't as good on the Bucs as he was with the Chargers, obviously, but he had a solid career. It's just unfortunate. A big trade in the WNBA. So Odyssey Sims gets traded from the Lynx to the Fever. So the Lynx are reshuffling their roster a little bit. So this is weird. So Odyssey Sims, Temi Fegmali, 2022 first and 2022 third is what Indy gets. And then all the Lynx get is a 2022 second round pick. That's a really good trade. I think that's a hijacking for the Fever. Like, what the heck? I wish I had Jeff Maglicetti on today. Like, that, I do not like this trade at all for the Lynx. They only get a 2022 second round pick for Odyssey Sims and plus. That's ridiculous. So a new coach in college football, or not a new coach, but an AAC program hires its next coach. Gus Malzahn is now the new head coach at UCF, 5-year, $11.5 million contract. He got the $21 million buyout from Auburn. I think that's a smart hire for UCF after losing their coach. I think that Malzahn might have a chip on his shoulder after how his Auburn tenure ended. And I think that he lands himself in a good program in UCF, and then maybe he'll be back in the Power 5 if he has success with the Golden Knights. Or they're just the Knights. Yeah, the Golden Knights is hockey. And then there's been some chatter about Russell Wilson being on the trade block. He's not available. Why would he be available? I think that's just media making this up. Like, Russell Wilson is not getting traded. Like, I know Wayne Gretzky got traded, and LeBron technically was signed and traded from Cleveland to Miami, but Russell Wilson's not getting traded. He is the Seattle Seahawks. He is the reason why the Seattle Seahawks have been a team that's been in contention every year. It's because of him, solely. If anything, the Seattle Seahawks should be looking to sign J.J. Watt, not looking to trade Russell Wilson. Because if they trade Russell Wilson, they become the Houston Texans, the other laughingstock, the worst team in the league. That's what they become without Russell Wilson. And then J.J. Watt, nobody has signed him yet. When he got released on Friday, I talked about on the podcast possible destinations. I didn't give out a prediction where I think he'll land. I just said that his best fits for Seattle and Green Bay. But my prediction is that he will land with the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Raiders want to win now. And they're all about winning now. And John Gruden and Mark Davis, they want to win. And I know there's rumors about Derek Carr. But I think they want to go for sexy big names. And their biggest needs on defense, especially on the pass rush. So I think J.J. Watt will ultimately land with the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so there you have it, my first news and notes segment of the show. We'll be doing this on the shows where there's news and notes that I have to talk about. And now I'm going to do my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There's some interesting ones on the board. There's some more underdogs I like rather than favorites. And the dog that I like the most tonight is Dayton, getting the 3.5 against Rhode Island. I'm going to pay a little extra because it's minus 115. So I'm going to take Dayton plus 3.5 against Rhode Island. So there you have it for best bet of the day. And that's it for the podcast. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the college basketball, NBA, and NHL from today and looking ahead to tomorrow. On tomorrow's show, I'm going to do the latest NFL mock draft. So that should be fun. I did not do that last week either. And then Masked Dancer finale, we'll preview and predict that. Any other news and notes I'll talk about it on my podcast and my best bet as well. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, everyone.